Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Lee Johnson and I'm creating what I'm calling the magical entrepreneur. So basically it's a balance between your business life and your spiritual life, especially esoteric and magic and stuff like that, which is why it's magical. So I will be going into a lot of how to create a website and how to market your business and things like that online. But I'll also be going into manifestation techniques, but not just your usual stuff. Also more magical and esoteric practices, and also looking into various paths and traditions and magical practices themselves, because it covers all of my passions really, all of the things I love doing, all of the things I love talking about, which is why I'm here, because I can talk to people. If you're watching this on my blog, then this isn't a scripted video. So the text below, read that as well. There might be some stuff in there that I haven't mentioned in the video. Might be some stuff in the video that I haven't mentioned in the text. So definitely watch and read both. If you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook or wherever, then I'll put a link to the blog post itself so you can have a read of it. And before I get started, please subscribe to the channel. It is rather new at this point, and all the support I can get would be really appreciated. So if you can subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like, comment. It helps to get my videos out there and get me into the actual search. So I really appreciate that. Thanks. So what I want to talk about today is 10 types of manifestation. Now these are the 10 types that I prefer. There are obviously a lot more, so if you want to discover more, that's fine, you can go out there. But the difficulty is that people want to use law of attraction and manifestation techniques, but it can become quite overwhelming because there are a lot of techniques out there and you just get bombarded with one thing after another. The key is to actually try each one and find out the ones that actually work for you, because some will work for some people and others won't. So I do think you need to try not all of them obviously, but there's a lot of them, but as many as you feel comfortable with, and find the ones that actually do work for you and then carry on using those ones, because if it works, why fix something that's not broken? So some of the I'm going to go through my list of 10, but some of them are the mainstream. Everybody's showing you how to do it and talking about it and everything else. I tend to have a bit of a different take on a couple of them, from a more spiritual and esoteric point of view, but I'll also be going to some more abstract and more magical techniques. So the first one is visualization. Now everybody talks about this one. It's the mainstream. It's the main one to do. It's definitely the one that you should start with if you haven't tried manifestation techniques before, or any kind of law of attraction method. So visualization, quite a few years back, The Secret came out. And I'm not saying that The Secret's bad or it's wrong, information's wrong, nothing like that, or the author, nothing against the author or the book or the movie. They were actually quite good. They're very good actually. But what I do want to say about The Secret, I remember when it came out, and everybody was talking about the law of attraction and The Secret. You need to watch The Secret. You need to read the book. You need to, because I think the movie came out before the book. So everybody was talking about, you've got to watch this movie. It'll change your life. But the thing that most people took from that was that you can put something out to the universe and you'll get it back. So if you ask for more money or a better job or a different relationship, whatever it may be, all you do is just ask for it, and after you've asked for it, then the universe will give it to you. You don't have to do anything, just ask for it and you get it. And that's the main thing that people took away from it. But there was a lot to the secret, and a lot that came after the secret, because I remember there were a lot of people in the movie who started then developing more and more course material to try and explain what was done in the secret just a little bit more, a little more in depth. If you go back further than that, people like Neville Goddard, he was talking, one of his phrases is "feel it real," and that's the part that people missed when they started this whole fanfare of the law of attraction and manifestation. It's about feeling appreciation. So it's not just about visualization, it's about feeling appreciation. But one of the things that is quite necessary to understand are things called mirror neurons in your brain. I'm going to talk about this more in depth in later videos, but just to give you a very, very brief interpretation of what that is, or explanation. Mirror neurons are part of the brain that actually doesn't recognize imagination versus reality. So if you imagine something, your brain actually thinks that you're experiencing it, you're feeling it. So if you can get your visualization right and you know, get visualization really good, then plus the feeling appreciation, if you can actually bring all your senses into your visualization, your physical senses plus your emotional state. So it's the whole feeling appreciation, getting the emotions going, feeling happy about what you're visualizing, feeling positive about it, and how it would feel if you had that right now, but putting it into the now. All of the manifestation techniques, you need to think of what you want as having it right now. But the feeling appreciation is very important to all of the manifestation techniques. So basically you visualize with such intensity and you bring your emotions into it, and then what happens is your brain thinks it's reality and it starts reacting in that same way, and it will start changing your reality into what you're actually visualizing. So that's the whole basis of visualization and the whole feeling appreciation technique. I'm just going to go through the top 10 techniques. I'm not going to go in depth. I'll do that in later videos on each one. So I'm just going to give you like a brief interpretation or explanation of what each one is. So the second one is vision boards. Vision boards are, some people say throw away your vision boards, you don't need them. Some people swear by them, they think they're excellent. I was actually watching a video with Oprah Winfrey the other day, and she says she doesn't use a vision board anymore because she's gotten so good at manifestation, which is fine. But if you're not good at manifestation like she is yet, then a vision board's quite a good thing to have. So with a vision board, what you want to try and do is first list all the things that you want. And I usually do this for a year, for the upcoming year. So being the new year, being January now, it's a very good time to actually do it. So list all the things that you want for that year, and then go onto Google, search through images. Don't just pick things that you feel will bring you something. Pick images that make you feel something. And then take a few images. You don't need to take a load, like you don't need 100 just for one thing that you want. Just 2 or 3 maybe, even one will work. As long as it makes you feel, when you look at it, you actually feel that feeling appreciation, and you get the sense of being happy that you have that thing now. And then take those images. If you want to use text, use very short phrases or single words. Don't use long paragraphs, because the whole idea with a vision board is that you just glance across it as you walk past it, and it just your subconscious then remembers and keeps triggering. So it pulls it back to the subconscious every time. So you don't want long paragraphs that you have to stand there and read, but take a few minutes to read. It's just one word or very short phrases, and it can be motivational phrases, whatever it may be. But take all of that stuff, put it into a photo editor, something like Photoshop, or you can even use Paint if you don't have Photoshop, and pull all the images in, arrange them. This is how I do it. Sorry, this is how I do it. Because what I do is I actually make an image and I put it onto my desktop and my desktop background, my wallpaper. And then when I switch my computer on in the morning, I see it. When I switch it off in the evening, I see it. So you can do it in Photoshop, or you can print out the pictures. This is how most people do it. Print out the pictures, cut them up, and put them onto a board, and arrange them in a way that you feel comfortable with. But don't stick them down yet. Put everything, arrange it, make sure it feels good to you, because if you put images in the wrong order, they're not going to feel good. You need it to feel good. So make sure it feels good for you, and then go and stick them down, because then they're permanent. And then you can put it up on your bedroom wall, usually the best place, because when you wake up in the morning you see it, and then when you go to bed at night you see it again. But getting back to what I do, I actually create a desktop wallpaper for myself, and I plaster it. It's all over my desktop with no icons on top. So I switch my computer on in the morning, I get the image. When I switch it off at night, I see the image again. There's the Hardy Doors. They're still around. So yeah, that's basically all you do with it. So it's a case of just walking past it and glancing at it and just bringing that to the surface of the subconscious mind. Every now and again, if you've got a few moments, just stand in front of it and put some more feeling appreciation into it, some more visualization. But you've got the imagery there that you can use immediately. Next is number 3 is a gratitude journal. I'm very bad at this, I must admit. Journaling in general I'm very bad at. Something I'm trying to change this year. But a gratitude journal is actually a very handy tool. If you do this first thing in the morning, it actually sets the theme for the rest of your day. So with a gratitude journal, it's very, very simple. All you do is you just note down a few things that you are grateful for. And it can be big things, it can be small things. So if you're grateful for the roof over your head, if you're grateful for the food in your stomach, if you're grateful for the person in your life, whatever it may be. If you're grateful that you didn't stub your toe when you got up this morning, put it down, write it down, as long as you're grateful for it. Just there's anything you can be grateful for. There are loads of things you can be grateful for, and don't forget that. And I think that's one of the main things with the gratitude journal, is that you don't forget that you are grateful for things. But with gratitude, when you write down the things that you're grateful for, you do generate that gratitude, and that gratitude then obviously generates feeling and emotions, and they are good, positive feelings and emotions. And so you start your day off with this gratitude journal, and you take the rest of the day and you put yourself in that positive space and that positive mind frame, and then you can obviously manifest better. So yeah, if you haven't started a gratitude journal, definitely start one, and see how it goes. Just see how you feel, how different you feel during the day. And then number 4 is scripting. Scripting is actually a very interesting thing. I'm actually going to include Hypersigils in this. Hypersigils the phrase was coined by Grant Morrison, and I think he actually came up with the whole idea. I'm not sure if anybody used it before Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison is a comic writer for DC and Vertigo, and he's also a chaos magician. Now, what he suggested with Hypersigils is that it can be used in any form of art expression. So it can be dancing, it can be writing, it can be comic strips, it can be painting, drawing, whatever it may be. Grant Morrison created the Vertigo comic, The Invisibles, and The Invisibles was actually a hypersigil that he created that lasted about 8 years. And with this hypersigil, what he was doing was writing situations that would force his reality to change. And so through the comic itself, he was creating his own reality. And scripting is actually very similar, because with scripting, if you search for it online, you'll find a lot of people talking about it. Basically, you write a journal, just a daily journal, as you would normally. But instead of writing what happened during your day, as in past tense, you write what you want to happen in present tense. So instead, if you had a really crappy day, instead of writing about your crappy day, write about how brilliant it was and this new project that you got and all of this stuff. And that, again, creates feeling appreciation. You're writing about something that you actually want. And as you carry on writing, it becomes more imbued in you. And you can then carry on with the scenario, with the story. So basically it's about creating a story that guides your own life and changes your own reality, because as you write the story, your life starts to follow the same pattern. Now what you can do is write this in advance even. So instead of just taking today and writing whatever you would have wanted to happen as now, then you can actually write for tomorrow. So you date the journal for tomorrow. You can do this in the evening, for example. Date it for tomorrow and write down exactly how you want your day to go. And write it in journal format. So this happened today, that happened today, blah, 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 blah. But you're writing it the day before, obviously, but you're writing it in the now. You can do it a day before. I haven't tried a week or a month before, something I do want to experiment with in the future. So you can just, even if you do it a month in advance, then there are certain themes within your life, certain energy patterns and directions that your life is going. So what you can do is further those energy patterns. So if you write a month in advance, then if it's January now, you're starting to write in February, and you can then just continue developing the patterns within your life along those lines. So next month, this is going to happen, and it gives that period of time where the energies can then start to click into place, and you can then start setting the direction of your life, instead of trying to force everything to happen right now. That's probably a good way to do it. I need to experiment with that myself, so we'll see how that goes. Number 5 is the mirror technique. A few people talking about this as well. Very interesting technique. So the way it's described or explained is that you stand in front of a mirror, so you can see your head and the top of your torso. So while you're standing in front of the mirror, you imagine that your reflection is talking to you. So it's a bit of a reversal, actually. So you would refer to yourself in the third person. You would refer to yourself. You wouldn't say "I am." You would say, "Hi, Lee. You are." Well, I would. You probably wouldn't, because your name isn't Lee. So you speak to yourself from the mirror, if that makes any sense. And you give yourself positive affirmations. You build yourself up. Tell yourself how good you're looking, how much weight you've lost. Maybe you tell yourself how successful your business is becoming, and you're ready for the next stage. Things like that. So just speak to yourself positively. And this obviously develops that positive attitude towards yourself, so that you can get out of that rut if you're in a rut. But now, there's an esoteric part to this, which there aren't many people that know about it. It may be another path, but I was taught the technique in Kabbalah. My mentor taught it to me, and his mentor taught it to him, etc., etc. The reason that you use this mirror technique within this context is to create a strong bond with your nefesh. Now, to give you a brief explanation of Kabbalah and the three cells or the three souls, you get the higher, middle, and lower selves, and these are the three main parts of your soul. And the higher soul is the neshama, that's your connection to divinity. Your middle self is your ruach, which your ruach actually is your, I suppose you could say it's your conscious state, your conscious subconscious state, but your ruach is the one that doesn't make decisions. It's not instinctual. All it does is retain memory. Obviously more to it, but that's the main thing. It retains memory so that you can continue through your life. Then your lower self is your nefesh. Now, your nefesh is incredibly powerful. We may speak about it as the lower self, and we may think the lower self is useless because it's lower, but that's actually not true. The nefesh is incredibly powerful. The things that nefesh can do is actually quite mind-blowing. But the nefesh is the instinctual self. It will just go out there and do. But it doesn't retain memory, which is why you need the ruach. So that relationship between the nefesh and the ruach. So what happens with the mirror technique that I was taught is that you start to talk to yourself. You actually start to talk to your nefesh. And you find out what its name is, what name it likes. You can give it a name, see if it likes that name, so it gets its own name. And then, what I forgot to mention was the nefesh has access to all knowledge. Everything, past, present, future, all knowledge within the universe it has access to. So very handy, very useful part of the soul. Excuse me. So with this mirror technique, what you do, you start talking to your nefesh and you create a bond. But because you're talking in the mirror to yourself, that also creates memory. So your ruach also gets involved, and you get a good connection and a good bond between your nefesh and your ruach. So then if you then develop a connection between your ruach and your neshama, then you've got a whole system of connection to divinity and connection to all knowledge of the universe, past, present, and future. So you can become, quite potent with this whole process. But this is the same thing as what people are talking about now, but they seem to have missed that whole connection with the souls, with your instinctual self and your memory and all of these little parts. So there's a lot more to it that I think there's a lot more to it than a lot of people realize. Number 6 is the water method. Now, if you've heard of Dr. Masaru Emoto, you will know that he did experiments with water crystals, or with water itself. So what he did was he took various forms of music, art, just words, things like that. So some would be positive, some would be negative. So he would, for instance, one of the experiments he did, he taped words onto 2 glasses with water inside. And the one may have been, I hate you, and the other one was, I love you. And then what he would do, he would freeze the water, and then he would examine the water crystals under a microscope. And all things that had a positive influence or a positive impact on the water, like I love you or some beautiful classical music or something like that, formed these amazing, beautiful crystalline shapes, whereas the negative became very chaotic and it was disrupted. And considering our bodies are made up mostly of water, obviously the energy that you're receiving and the energy that you're giving yourself through your own thoughts is very influential as to what happens within your own body, but also within your own mind, because the one obviously reflects the other. So with the water technique, what you can do is take a glass of water or a cup of water, or even a water bottle, whatever it may be, and you can tape a word to it. If it's a permanent bottle, you can inscribe the word if you want to. But the main thing is to take the water, hold it in your hands, think of your intent, what you want to manifest, and push that energy, that thought into the water. It's just a simple case of getting that feeling appreciation going. Again, feeling appreciation, very important. So visualize, get the feeling appreciation going, get the emotions running, and then sort of imagine it as energy that's running through your body, and then it starts accumulating in your shoulders, and then it runs down your shoulders, down your arms, into your hands, into the water. Just a visualization, just imagination. And it then pushes that intent into the water, and then you drink it. Simple as that. The next one is Transurfing, number 7. This was created by a Russian guy named Vadim Zeland. Not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but Vadim Zeland. If anybody knows how to properly pronounce his name, please let me know. So this guy, well, he didn't create it. He went through various meditations and visualizations and journeying, really. It was very much a spiritual journey that he took. And he was actually given the word transurfing and the whole concept behind it. Now, it's made up of 12 golden rules or 12 principles. And to put it in a very small nutshell, because it's a huge topic and definitely something I will be talking about a lot more, because it can't cover even a pinprick of it now. But to put it in a very small nutshell, it's about your attitude towards yourself and towards life, and the type of energies you connect to, and which are draining you, which are creating negativity and aren't actually good for you or positive. But yeah, I'm going to talk about, just very brief explanation now. It's too big to talk about or even try and summarize. So I just wanted to put it in there so that you're aware of it, and we'll talk about it later. Then 8 is quantum leaping. Quantum leaping, now, if you go searching for quantum leaping, or people refer to it as quantum jumping, I remember it as quantum leaping. So quantum jumping, you're probably going to come across the 2 glass method. And very simply, the 2 glass method is very, very much like the water technique. But you take 2 glasses, put a bit of water in, and you write out your current circumstance, where you are now. You tape it to the glass number 1, and then you write where you want to be. So your future, whatever you want your current circumstance to change to, and then you tape that to the second glass. And then you take the first glass, you think about your current circumstance, and you imbue that water with that intent or that energy. And then you take that water, you pour it into the second glass. You take that glass and you then think about how you want your circumstance to change and what you want it to become, well up the feelings, the emotions, and imbue that glass with that energy, and then drink it. So similar to the water technique, and if you have studied Magick, you'll probably recognize this, and the water technique itself, you'll probably recognize it as sympathetic magic. But I wouldn't consider this quantum leaping or quantum jumping. The way I learned years ago about quantum leaping is it's about parallel universes or parallel realities, parallel lives. Not even alternative universes, but parallel. So a parallel life is, you can get many of them, and there are 2 schools of thought, 2 parallel lives. The one is that all parallel lives already exist. So you may be a doctor now. In a parallel life, you're a hobo. In another parallel life, you are an artist. In another parallel life, you're a lawyer. So you've got all these parallel lives that just took slightly different directions in life. So you're all born at the same time, born within the same circumstance, but throughout your life, it took different directions. Now, the second school of thought is that as you are moving through this life, you come to choices. And, you have the choice of either going down the left path or the right path, or there might be multiple paths, depending on what the choice is or what the situation is. But let's just stick to your left path and right path. Okay, so as you come to this fork in the road, you have to make a decision. Are you going to take that path or are you going to take that path? You eventually decide to take one of the paths. And then you consider the other path to be deleted, removed, gone. You didn't take it, so no point lingering on it. But within this train of thought is that you actually do take both paths. And at that fork, when you make your decision to go the left path, a parallel life then splits off. And that splitting off then follows the other path. And that life carries on from that point. So you do get these two schools of thought within parallel lives and within quantum leaping. Quantum leaping itself is where you connect with a parallel life. So let's say your parallel life is the hobo, and you want to become an artist. So you would then connect with your artist parallel self, and you kind of absorb the energy, or you can take instruction from the parallel life. This is a very, very grey area subject. There are people that practice this differently, and people believe differently. So in one situation, somebody may say that you actually sit and have a conversation with your parallel self. In another, somebody else might say that you're only the observer. You don't interact. The other self doesn't know you're there. All you're doing is basically crossing over, shifting yourself out of this reality, putting yourself into the parallel life reality, and observing. And then you can, because it's your parallel life, it's part of you already, you can then take on the energy of that parallel life. I don't think you suck it out or drain the energy. It's a sharing, really. And then you come back and you can then use that energy to then change your own reality. So as I say, a bit of a grey area. A lot of different schools of thoughts and trains of thoughts. I don't think it's been explored enough, although it's been, I think I first learnt about quantum leaping probably 15 years ago, maybe 15 plus years ago. So it's something that's been around for a long time, but I don't think a lot of people have actually explored it in depth. Or maybe everybody just has different experiences when they actually do it. But again, something I'll cover more in depth. Then we get onto the magic and the esoteric stuff. So number 9 is Sigil magic and Servitors. Now I've spoken about Sigil magic quite a bit, in 2 or 3 videos in the past. I'll be covering more about Sigil magic in the future, because it's a really powerful topic, actually, a really powerful technique. And what's nice about Sigil magic is that you can almost bypass the feeling appreciation part. It does help. It definitely helps, because it imbues more energy into your magic. But you can actually look at Sigil magic as more of a mechanical process. So it's a case of transferring your intent, your will, what you want to manifest from your conscious into your subconscious, and then allowing your conscious mind to actually forget about it, so you can carry on working within the subconscious without any interruptions. So you create this glyph, this visual representation of your intent or your will, and then you go into an alternate or a trance state. It can be a light to deep trance state, whatever works best for you, really. And then you use different methods, or whichever method works for you, to actually transfer it into your subconscious. So this can be a very technical or mechanical process. Following on from sigils, which is something I will speak about in the future. Again, I'm going to speak about everything in the future. Are servitors. Now, servitors are thought forms. It's an extensive topic. As I say, I'm going to cover it. So to give you a brief explanation now, just to summarize, servitors, as I said, are thought forms, and we actually tend to create servitors without knowing it quite often. But if you do it intentionally, then you have control over the servitor. You can feed it properly, you can send it out to do whatever you want. You got to remember to actually treat it properly. I actually wrote a whole ebook about servitors and how to create them, both from the Kabbalistic and from a chaos magic point of view. So I'll definitely get into that. But servitors, as again, to try and summarize. It's a thought form. Think about it like you are creating a child. That child is a ball of energy, and you create that ball of energy, and you imbue that ball of energy with the intent or the will of what you want it to do. Each servitor has a specific task, so it will be imbued with a specific intent. And then it goes out and it does whatever you want it to do, whatever you created it for, whether it's attracting money, whether it's chasing clients who haven't paid, whatever it may be. So the servitor then goes out and performs these tasks. Now, some servitors can go out and perform a single task and then they die. The energy just basically dissipates. Or it can be an ongoing thing. And with the ongoing servitor, where you keep bringing it home and then you send it out to do something else, they need to be fed, and you need to feed them properly. They need to be treated properly, because what can happen is a servitor, if it's not fed but it's still working, it's going to find food somewhere, and it might start draining some other sorry ass little person. They might deserve it, they might not, but that's besides the point. So they might start draining other people to get that energy so they can actually do the work that you keep sending them out to do. And then what sometimes happens is they become bigger and bigger and bigger. They actually become sentient, and they can actually become egregores. And egregores, very big topic, it's going to be covered. It's also part of Transurfing. He speaks about pendulums, which are egregores basically, and how to disconnect from them. So yeah, very large topic, egregores. But you don't want them to get to that stage, because the Christian God, the Christian church, is an egregore. It's a huge, huge, massive egregore that thousands, millions, I don't know how many millions of people are actually plugged into. So you don't want it to get to that stage, so make sure you treat your servitors properly, you feed them properly. So I'm going to cover that, but yeah, with the egregore, with servitors and manifestation techniques, you can create a servitor to go out and get certain things, perform certain tasks for you that help you with your manifestation. So also a very, very good topic to consider. And then lastly is number 10, charms, amulets, and spellwork. Again, huge topic. We could cover thousands and thousands of hours on this topic. But most paths, most traditions have some charms or amulets. In Kabbalah, you've got charms, you've got amulets, you've got kamiyas that you can use, either written, intoned, or graphical, glyph type amulets and chimeras, squares, magical squares, things like that. In hoodoo, you've got gree or mojo bags. In a lot of paths, hoodoo, Wicca, witchcraft, whatever it may be, you also got candle magic. So there are a lot of different techniques you can use. Now, what I wanted to actually say within this one, I wanted to mention spellwork and actually tie it back to scripting. Now, if you've studied Magick, you'll know the old books of Magick, or spellwork, or working with the spirits mostly, were called grimoires. And in old British traditional witchcraft, you often come across grimoires. Now, grimoire and grimoire come from the same word. It's the same root word. And the word actually became the modern English word grammar. And then spellwork, we often talk about doing a spelling. So you've got grammar and you've got spelling, and this is all within Magick and spellwork. So what you're actually doing with spellwork is you are altering your reality through the use of proper words. Because if quite often, I mean, you can use just visualization and imagination, but quite often with spellwork, you are saying things. You're saying particular things, and those things relate to the intent of the spellwork. And they are used in order to develop or enhance your visualization and put the intent within subconscious mind. So spellwork is about using words, and scripting is about writing words, changing your reality, or altering your reality by using the written word. So quite interesting connection between the two, I thought myself. But anyway, that's my 10. Oh, and this is a very long video, 40 minutes. Okay, that was my top 10 types of manifestation techniques that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to be going in more in depth into them, each one of them. So watch out for those, and thanks for watching. I'm definitely going to end it here now because this is a very long video. And I thank you for watching all the way through. If you've got any questions, please leave in the comments. Please remember to like, share and subscribe. Alright, and so I'm going to say goodbye now, and you'll see me in the next video next week, Monday. Cheers.